So I believe you don't have a stress problem. You actually have a breathing problem. And once you see it, you can't really unsee it. And so in the next few minutes in this video, I'm going to show you why this happens, the one mistake almost everybody's making when they're trying to fix it. And then I'm going to share with you a technique that will help you feel calmer in seconds, and you can do it in this video. So let's get stuck in. Hi, I'm Mike. I'm a calm coach, and I've spent the last 10 years researching and teaching breathwork to high performers, people that really suffer from stress. And the reason I do this is I was the biggest stress head you would ever meet. Exhausted, angry, tense, nervous, you name it, I felt it. And I got really good at masking my stress. Alcohol was my go-to. And it did a good job of covering things up until one day I went on a breathwork retreat about 10 years ago. And after doing some breathwork, it was the calmest I'd ever felt. So most people think that stress is a mindset problem and they try to think and talk their way out of it. But here's the truth. That's never going to work because that was never the actual problem. Why is it that two people can do the exact same job with the same boss, and one person is really stressed out all the time and the other person is really chill? Well, the answer is something called resilience. And I want you to think of resilience a bit like a shield. If you know Marvel and think of Captain America with his shield, well, some of us have got really big shields. And so as the stress through life, jobs, bosses, kids, we can reflect a lot of it because we've got such a big shield. But mine 10 years ago was like a teeny tiny, almost like miniature Action Man shield. And so as the stress came to me, it would just come straight at me. I had no defense, I had no resilience. So the question then begs, how do we have a big stress resilient shield? And that's where the breath comes in. So how you breathe, the science is very clear now, affects how you think and feel, even how you move. And so the brain-lung connection is so important. And we already know that if you've ever known somebody or you've ever had a choking situation where your breathing was interrupted, you'll know that you don't panic 6 weeks later, 6 months later. You start to panic within seconds. Because let's be honest, if the brain-lung connection is interrupted, if we can't breathe, we don't get very long before it's all over. And so our entire nervous system is aimed to prioritize the breath before food, sleep, exercise, all that sort of stuff. And the problem is the modern world is working against us and our breath. In fact, there was a book called Breath, and the author of that book said we humans have become the worst breathers in the animal kingdom. It's not our fault. Stress plays a huge part in everything, of course, but also so does the modern world. So we think about the fact that we sit a lot, we go to school, we have poor role models, our rib cage becomes tight, we start to copy poor breathing patterns of other people, we don't move as much as we should, we don't chew as much as we should. There's lots of reasons for it, and our breathing starts to be lost. We become what would be known as a dysfunctional breather, a poor breather. Now the brain-lung connection, let's come back to that again. So the brain is always listening to the lungs. We know, again, the choking situation, there's a problem there. And so if I am breathing in a way that is tight, rapid, loud, stressful breathing, well, my brain is going to notice that and send signals to my nervous system. And those signals are going to say, something's wrong. We're not safe. So don't go into your deepest levels of sleep. In fact, stay alert. Keep looking for danger. Maybe you should be tense. This is the nervous system. Let's flood your body with stress hormones because something's wrong. We might need to fight. We might need to run away. So I'm going to keep you geared up. Now that stress response in the old days was actually really helpful for a predator in the forest or in the jungle. But when we sit like I did in that state for decades, this is a real problem. So we sit in this chronic state of stress, and all that other stress that gets piled on from your job, from your kids, from your partner, from your money situation is piled on top of this poor breathing pattern. So not only do we have all these external stress situations going on, well, your internal mechanism is also telling your body that you're stressed. The good news is this: if we start to breathe soft, gentle, rhythmic, correctly, well, we start to send a different set of signals to our brain. We start to tell the brain, I'm safe, everything's okay. I can get into a deeper level of sleep. I'm safe to sleep tonight. I'm safe to relax. I don't need all these stress hormones in my system. And that's where breath work is the missing part of stress for people. Of course, all that other stress is coming in, but let's get our shield up to defend against that stress. What hope have we got if we're constantly 25,000 breaths a day sending signals of panic and discomfort and problems? And so we start to change the breath. We start to relax the breath. Now, there are hundreds of breathing techniques out there. I know because I've mapped them all. I actually have what I call the periodic table of breath work. And I've mapped out the more stressful breathing techniques, the ones that can fix your breathing system, the ones that can down-regulate you for sleep, and all the ones in between. And if you'd like access to that, it's actually in my Calm Club. I actually have a Calm Club which you can get into for the price of a cappuccino. The link is down below. I'd love to see you in there. But as I promised you in this video, let's talk about what we can do here right now to calm us down. And that one technique I've chosen for you today is humming. The fun hum. The thing that kids do, right? Why humming? Well, there's loads of reasons. The main ones are this. When we extend the exhale, we send signals to the brain that we're safe. Because we know, don't we, if someone's chasing us with a hammer, we're not doing slow exhales, we're panting through the mouth. So we become nasal, we slow the exhale down, we start to make some noise. We have our vagus nerve, we don't need to get into that today, but we have vagus nerves coming down. They like to be stimulated with noise, vibration, singing, humming. All these things are very calming. And so when we hum, which we're going to do together in a second, this is very, very relaxing for your nervous system. Okay, the good thing is you can do it most places, and people will just smile as you're doing it. Also opens up the airway, opens up the lungs, sterilizes the air. Loads of benefits to having a good hum. So we're just going to do a couple of cycles together. Are you ready? We're going to breathe in and we're going to hum out until we feel ready for the next breath. You can follow me or you can do your own thing. So let's take a gentle breath in through the nose now. Hold it for a second. And let's go 3, 2, 1. In through the nose. Hold for a second. And let's hum out again. Let's do one more. Nice big inhale in. And go back to regular breathing. Just a few rounds of humming breath, so relaxing. And what we do is we start to send those signals that we're safe. And so when we're feeling stressed, if you can't hum, by the way, maybe you're next to your partner and they're asleep, you're on the bus and you don't want to start humming, you can just extend the exhale. You can just breathe slowly out. The hum is going to be better, but we can just slow the exhale down as well. Now, there are many ways to build your resilient shield. Okay, we haven't got time for them all in this video, but I run programs that do that. So you've got what I would call a break glass in case of emergency here, which will help you relax, get to sleep, unwind, calm you down after stress. But know that we have a 5-point plan to truly reset your breathing, build your resilience, and everything is in the link below for our Calm Club. So go down there, have a look, Best part is, first week's free. So you've got literally nothing to lose. Come in, come and say hello. I teach live classes in there. The point is to help you relax, to help you feel calm, to help you feel the best that you felt in decades. And remember, don't try and think your way out of stress. Breathe your way out. Use this and the other guided techniques that we have to help you feel the calmest, best version of yourself. Thank you so much for watching this video. There's a million things you could have done. And I please encourage you to click the link and check us out. If it's not for you, no problem. Check out another video. And if you're curious, come and check us out. First week's free. Cheers.